don't know about you, but one of my all-time favorite activities to do is to watch movies. And I don't mean just going into my living room and watching them on television. I mean going to the theater, the big screen, and watching and listening and enjoying a wonderful movie. In fact, one of my earliest memories was when my parents would take us downtown in the Loop in Chicago for the world premieres of such classic films as like The Sound of Music and Camelot. And here you're seeing it in this huge auditorium. So what does that have to do with our subject today? Well, I'm going to tell you in a moment, but first let me tell you who I am. If you don't know, I'm Diane Gatsis Havinga. I am just thrilled and excited to be your host on a TGIF Friday. We only have one more Friday after this in January. Can you believe that? And it is January 24th. And today, Terrance and I got together a couple of months ago to talk about films, and we came up with, well, why don't we do kind of a favorite film Village in Motion? So we went back and started talking, and I kept changing what my three, quote, all-time favorite movies are. And the criteria varies, but basically these are films that I go back to time and time again, and I can watch and I can either sing along with it or dance along with it, but maybe even more importantly, laugh along with it. So today, Friday, January 24th, these are the three kind of all-time favorite movies that I'm going to share with you. And the first one is a film that I think everyone here at Green Spring has seen, and it is Singing in the Rain. Now, this film came out in 1952. It was directed and choreographed by none other than Gene Kelly, and he was also helped with the directing Stanley Doran. And the film, when it originally premiered, was kind of this lukewarm reception, but it is now, the American Film Institute, it is number 5 as one of the greatest American films of all times. So if you haven't seen it, you really need to go and rent either a copy or download it from Netflix, do whatever you can. But we're going to give you a sneak preview as to why this is considered number 5.
Singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, we're happy again. We'll walk down the lane with a happy refrain and singing, just singing in the rain.
Well, Mr. Simpson, we're really rolling.
Yeah, well, you can stop rolling at once.
Huh?
Don, Lena.
All right, everybody, save it.
Save it. Tell them to go home. We're shutting down for a few weeks.
What?
Well, don't just stand there. Tell them.
Everybody go home until further notice. What is this?
Yeah, what's the matter, Averett?
The jazz singer. That's what's the matter. The jazz singer.
Oh, my darling little mammy, now little mammy, my little baby.
No, this is no joke, Cosmo. It's a sensation. The public is screaming for more.
More what?
Talking pictures. Talking pictures.
Oh, it's just a freak.
Yeah, what a freak. We should have such a freak at this studio. I told you talking pictures were a menace, but no one would listen to me. Don, we're going to put our best feet forward. We're going to make the dueling cavalier into a talking picture.
Beautiful girl, you're a lovely picture. You were meant for me.
All I do is dream of you the whole night through.
You're all my lucky charms.
And can you go wrong with that music and, of course, the dancing? And I just wanted to point out one thing. And, you know, the theme, Singing in the Rain, and that's probably one of the most well-known dances that Gene Kelly put together. So when he filmed that particular sequence, he was running a high fever of about 102. So imagine having to film this intense dancing sequence, and of course it's raining. They are drenching him with water, and of course you just don't do 1 or 2 takes. So I just think that whole sequence makes it even more unbelievable. So it's a great film. Highly, highly recommended. In fact, I think I'm going to go home tonight and take it out and put it in my DVD and watch. Now, my second all-time favorite, for those of you who know me, this is not going to be a surprise by any stretch of the imagination. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is it really does, it's a family thing. What can I say? And it's an ethnic thing. But when My Big Fat Greek Wedding first came out, which was, can you believe it was in 2002, this was a film that we in my family, and by family I'm talking about all my cousins, we would go and we would go, can you believe this film? It was like right on the money, to the point where when my children eventually saw it and they looked at me and they said, Mom, did you take Greek lessons? And I said, of course I took Greek lessons. That doesn't mean I retain anything, but that was standard. So this film, as I mentioned, came out April 19th, 2002. It was an independent film. In fact, some side notes, it was produced with Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson, who, by the way, Rita, if you don't know, happens to be Greek. So now you get the gist of it. It was nominated for a screenplay for the Academy Award. It was a sleeper hit. It was produced with peanuts. I think it cost like anywhere, it was definitely under $5 million, and that's in 2002 dollars. And it ended up becoming one of the highest, if not the highest grossing romantic comedy of all time. Pretty amazing. So this little sample is going to tell you why I can continually watch this film, and anyone who hasn't seen it, when they come to dinner in my house, guess what? We put it on, and I can still laugh at it, and I can still say, yep, that's my family.
Hi.
Hi.
Did you want to see some brochures? Found them.
When Tula met Ian, she found her man.
I just want to spend a little time with you.
And he found her family.
No one in my family has ever gone out with a non-Greek before. Oh!
A respectful boy would come here and ask for my permission.
May I please date your daughter?
No!
I'll do anything to get them to accept me.
End it now.
I love
Will you marry me?
you. You invited the whole family?
You're gonna be baptized tomorrow. Nikki gonna be your godmother.
I've never seen my sister so happy.
Oh.
If you hurt her, I'll kill you and make it look like an accident.
Hey, Ian, we're gonna kill you. Opa!
Playtone and Gold Circle Films cordially invite you
It's a mosquito bite. It's a zit.
to the wedding of the year.
She's ready!
And the romantic comedy of the season. Nia Vardalos, John Corbett, Lainey Kazan, Michael Constantine, Gia Carides, Andrea Martin, and Joey Fatone.
Ian is a vegetarian. He doesn't eat meat.
What do you mean he don't eat no meat? That's okay. I make lamb.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
We may be lambs in the kitchen, but we have tigers in the bedroom.
Ew, please let that be the end of your speech.
So, I mean, really, I was chuckling through that entire clip. It's just so true, and I love the line, "What you eat to know meat? If I make lamb." My last favorite film for you, and then we're going to switch places here, is, again, I can't believe it, it's from 1952, but this has to be a classic. This film has everything you can imagine. It has great acting, it's a great screenplay, it's a great story. It's just well put together. It was directed by John Huston. It stars Humphrey Bogart, and this was the film that he won his only Academy Award. And then, of course, we have Katharine Hepburn. So you got the two of them together in a location. Now, remember, this is 1952. So in the 1950, 1951, they actually went to Uganda and Africa to film part of this film, which really was unheard of back then. It was one of the few on-location films that were ever produced at that time. And part of the whole sequence of all this is that, you know, here you are in the jungles in the Congo. The weather was terrible. The living conditions were terrible. Most of the crew, if not all, and the cast got sick. In fact, the saying goes, or not the saying, but Humphrey Bogart said there were only two of us who did not get sick, and that was himself and John Huston, and that's because they didn't drink the water, they were drinking other things. And some of the film, when you see Katharine Hepburn playing the organ, in between takes, she would play the organ, and they had a little kind of spittoon next to the organ so she could then, you know, do whatever she needed to in between takes. That's how sick they were. So it is just an amazing film. And let me just check my notes once again. It was listed at the National, it's on the National Film Registry as one of the most deemed culturally and historically and aesthetically significant. How about that? Pretty amazing, huh? Anyway, this is The African Queen.
From the thrilling pages of world-renowned author C.S. Forester's story, and filmed in the jungles and at the headwaters of Africa, the Dark Continent, in all the magnificence of color by Technicolor, comes the most exciting adventure ever screened.
You promised you'd go down the river.
There's death a dozen times over down the river.
You promised.
Well, I'm taking my promise back.
Filmed in the treacherous wilds of Africa and directed by John Huston, winner of a double Oscar Award for The Treasure of Sierra Madre. Against a savagely thrilling background, two people live a reckless adventure. Charlie Allman, lazy, gin-swilling, no better than he should be. And Rosie, straight-laced Rosie Sayers, who learns about life, all about it.
Well, I ain't sorry no more, you crazy, psalm-singing, skinny old maid.
Two people thrown together against their wills.
Get out.
In a stirring and pulse-pounding story known in fact or fiction.
Waiting for the supper, miss. I'm the captain, that's who. And I ain't taking you along. You'd only be in my way.
I suppose I was in your way going down the rapids. Then what you said to me back there on the river was a lie about how you never could have done it alone, and how you lost your heart and everything. You liar.
And welcome back. So Diane has left the seat here, and I am now get to give you a look at my favorite films. When we started talking about films that we were going to cover, I had to think about what made me pick a specific film, like what properties made a good movie to me. And I realized that I'm really just a sucker for good cinematography. And so my first film that I'm going to show you is Amélie, which is a French film. It has these beautiful sweeping shots with a crane that go over all these areas of France, and it's just a beautiful film to watch. You don't even need to listen to it, but it also has a great story. It's really funny. There are a lot of quirky bits to it. The coloring in this film is very green, and it looks really cool all the way throughout and makes the whole tone stick together. But I believe it was from like 1999, but here, give a look to Amélie.
Savez-vous quel est le point commun entre tous ces personnages? C'est Amélie. Amélie Poulain. Et elle va changer leur vie.
Dis-moi, papa, si tu retrouvais une chose de ton enfance à laquelle tu tenais comme un trésor, ça te rendrait comment?
Mais quand il bosse, il risque pas d'être flashé par le radar. Pas vrai?
Elle se met en quatre pour arranger les cafouillages de la vie des autres.
Mais elle, qui va s'en occuper? Je la connais même pas.
Mais si, tu la connais.
Dans tes rêves.
Elle serait pas en train de nous tomber amoureux.
Les coups de foudre, ça existe.
Qu'est-ce que vous êtes belle, Georgette, quand vous rougissez.
C'est mon aréophagisme.
C'est vous? Si, c'est vous, ça.
Après Alien la résurrection,
Collignon, t'es cagnon.
le nouveau film de Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Le fabuleux destin d'Amélie Poulain. Et si elle changeait votre vie?
Et les Didi? Tu crois qu'ils vont faire la même chose pour les Didi?
And that was Amélie. Of course, it was all in French. My next film is, it's from the Coen brothers. It is a fanciful take on the Odyssey, I'd say. It has beautiful coloring again. It's sweeping filmography, whatever, cinematography. Looks beautiful. It stars, I just blanked on his name. But it is a great film that has a lot of nice coloring to it. They tinted it kind of sepia tone, if you pay attention to that sort of thing. But here, give a look to "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
How's my little girl?
He ain't our daddy.
I am the only daddy you got. I am the damn paterfamilias.
Now Mama's got a new beau.
Vernon here's got a job. Vernon's got prospects. He's bona fide. What are you?
You can't marry him.
I can, I am, and I will.
This gentleman bothering you? Well, you can't marry my wife.
And stay out of the Woolworth.
To get back to his wife and kids, Ulysses Everett McGill will do anything.
Hey, any voice, Smitty.
But he's about to get off on the wrong track.
Who elected you leader of this outfit? Well, Pete, I figured it should be the one with the capacity for abstract thought. Boys, just stick with me. Yeah, we're in a tight spot. Believe me, I got a plan. And I can get my wife back and we can get out of here.
Okay, I'm with you fellas.
And the man of constant sorrow.
Ain't you gonna introduce us, Pete?
I've seen him first. Them sirens loved him up and turned him into a horny toad.
You two are just dumber than a bag of hammers.
Allow me to introduce myself. Big Dan, Toot Core.
Hey, what line of work you in, George?
Come and get me, Captain!
Oh, George, not the livestock. Wait a minute. Since we've been following your lead, we got nothing but trouble.
You have eluded me for the last time.
I got the answers. I'm bona fide.
Maybe your friends think I'm just a stranger. My face you never see no more. But there is one thought.
Son, you're gonna go far.
I'll meet you on God's golden shore.
You ever been with one?
I don't know how I could have forgotten to mention the fact that the music of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" and it was George Clooney in it, but after they did that film, the artists that did all the songs, they went on tour, and Diane was just saying that she actually went to see them in concert, and it was really good. So, my last film is I feel kind of is a cheat because it's Akira Kurosawa, and it is one of many films. I could have just said all of Akira Kurosawa's films because I think they're all beautiful. And like I said, I'm a sucker for cinematography, and just all of the cinematography in black and white. Just every shot is just beautiful and put together just so well. I mean, you can't. I think of him, and I think of Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick, also being a really fantastic director that do those kinds of films, and especially their black and white work, just so outstanding. But my favorite film, definitely my favorite film of all time, and definitely my favorite film from Akira Kurosawa, is The Seven Samurai. And just take a look at it here.
And I have to agree with the three films that Terrance chose. They were all wonderful. The last film, I remember way back when I was in college and taking film courses, history of film courses. Of course, that would be one director that they would focus on, and we watched Seven Samurai, and there's another one, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. So let me just say, preface my next comments. We chose three films based on residents' suggestions. It was not a scientific survey by any means. It was more of a question that we sent out to our resident hosts and some of the people in our crew. And we just said, well, what are some of your favorite movies? And from all the suggestions that we received, Terrance and I will even say Paulette, also gave her 2 cents in terms of what are the films we're going to feature. So the next three films come from you, the residents, in terms of some of your favorite film. The first one, I think, again, is one of those films that it's just ingrained in the American psyche. And it has one of the most famous lines that are still said. You know, you get a box of chocolate, and life is like a box of chocolate. You just never know what you're gonna get, right? And of course, it stars the all-time favorite, Academy Award winner, Tom Hanks. Let's go watch Forrest Gump.
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump. Would you like a chocolate?
Oh, thank you.
It's funny what a young man recollects.
You're the same as everybody else. You are no different.
Your boy's different.
Are you stupid or something? Mama says stupid is as stupid does. I'm Jenny. I'm Forrest Gump.
She was my most special friend. My only friend. We was together all the time. We was like peas and carrots, Jenny and I.
Run, Forrest!
Hey, stupid! Run! Now, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but but I can run like the wind blows.
Who in the hell is that?
That there's Forrest Gump, Coach. Just a local idiot. I never thought it would take me anywhere. They even put me on a thing called the All-America team, where you get to meet the President of the United States.
Congratulations. How does it feel to be an All-American?
I got a day.
I believe he said he had to go pee.
Now, maybe it's just me, but college was very confusing times.
Have you ever been with a girl, Forrest?
I sit next to them in my home economics class all the time.
Have you given any thought to your future?
Go! What's your sole purpose in this army?
To do whatever you tell me, drill sergeant.
You're a damn genius. You are going to be a general someday, go.
Yes, drill sergeant! They sending me to Vietnam.
Listen, you promised me something, okay? If you're ever in trouble, don't try to be brave. You just run, okay?
Okay.
Where you boys from in the world? Alabama, sir. You twins? No, we are not relations, sir. For some reason, what I was doing seemed to make sense to people.
Forget about me and get yourself out!
Been awarded the Medal of Honor. How come? Now, my mom was always telling me how miracles happen every day. Some people don't think so.
Jenny!
But they do. You can come home with me to my house in Greenbow. I'll take care of you.
Why are you so good?
I mean, again, another classic, a film that came out in 1994. And one of the most amazing things about that film, and it was shown in the trailer, is the use of editing and how they were, it was one of the first, if not the first film, where they really utilized historical footage with what they were shooting. So you saw Kennedy, you saw Johnson, just putting those seamlessly, those characters together as if it was happening today. So again, Forrest Gump, wonderful film, and it has a great soundtrack with that one too. Now the second film we want to feature is very relevant because in about 2 weeks we have what's known as Groundhog's Day, which is supposedly supposed to predict the winter forecast for us. And I don't really trust it, but when the groundhog does say that the winter's going to be shorter, of course we all cheer. When he doesn't, we go, oh, it's just nonsense. But in 1993, a film called Groundhog's Day came out, and it is one of the, again, it's a romantic comedy, and it will make you chuckle even if you've seen it more than once.
Groundhog Day!
Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Weatherman Phil Connors is spending the day in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania.
Phil? Ned! Ned Ryerson. I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show.
Bing!
Bing!
But Phil's about to find out he's not just stuck in Puxatawney.
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
Chance of departure today, 100%.
He's stuck
Groundhog Day!
in Groundhog Day.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
Phil?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing!
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
I don't think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again?
At first, he was a little anxious.
Phil? What?
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
I'd say the chance of departure is 80%.
But now,
We could do whatever we want.
he's discovering the possibilities
Don't you worry about cholesterol?
Why?
and living life like there's no tomorrow.
Phil Connors!
Ned!
Because there isn't.
I am an immortal. I have been stabbed, shot, burned, frozen, electrocuted. I'm a god.
You're God.
I'm a god. I'm not the god.
He's out of his gourd.
But to get what his heart wants most
What are you looking for, Phil? A date for the weekend?
means living this day over again till he gets it right.
So I think on February 2nd, we should all watch this film because I was laughing through the trailer throughout. So our last resident favorite film again, in quotes, is none other than Shakespeare in Love. And we have to have some kind of comment about Shakespeare, right? And this really is a wonderful, well-directed, well-produced, talk about great cinematography, and it's just a great production. And even if you don't know Shakespeare, you learn a lot about him and his plays. And if you do know Shakespeare, you just can sit back and enjoy it.
Shakespeare is having a bad year. His last 2 shows flopped. The theater is about to go bankrupt.
Notice will be posted!
And the gangsters are moving in.
The show must go on.
The last thing he needs right now is a nasty case of writer's block.
What's it called?
Romeo and Ethel, the pirate's daughter.
What is the story?
Well, there's this pirate.
Enter his very own Juliet.
Who is she?
Dream on, Will.
I heard you were a poet.
I was a poet till now. Shakespeare!
My heart belongs to you, but I will marry Wessex a week from Saturday.
Is she fertile? She will breed. If she do not, send her back.
If they find you here, they will kill you.
For one kiss, I would defy 1,000 Wessexes.
Miramax Films and Universal Pictures present a truly romantic comedy of
That film, of course, is Shakespeare in Love, and Gwyneth Paltrow, who played Juliet, won her Academy Award for this film. So I hope you've enjoyed us kind of going back into time and bringing out films that we consider some of our favorites.